Medieval app switcher. Close. Activate. Default. Boost. Show achievements. Change. Show. Go back. Life. Double. You are a young wizard seeking treasure and glory. You are. Suddenly, you smell something awful. Region old. Are you responsible for that outrageous smell? You ask the warrior striding ahead of you. Pray, no. I am always downwind from my companions when I squeeze the bellows. Region old answers. You realize that you have never encountered this stench before, and it is close. Ellipsis. And perhaps it's your imagination, but is that muffled breathing you just heard? What do you do? Shout a warning to region old. Button. Dive flat on your face. Button. Hide. Button. Stop and listen. Button. Stop and listen. Button. Hide. Dive. Shout a warning to region old. Button. Shout a warning to region old. It is startled. Region old springs off the ground. It is an ambush. You shout. Life. 12. It is an ambush. Startled. Just then, out of the brush rush several snarling goblins, their eyes glowing green in the murky darkness. They charge with their short spears. Continue. Button. Continue. With an arcane word in the flourish of one hand, you send a bolt of fire into the leader of the charge, who drops to the ground thrashing in flames. Region old hacks down another with his sword. The remaining three run away, whooping and yipping. Morale. Mana decreases too. With an arcane word in the flourish of one hand, their cries are, it's a hunting party. Probably tracking wild game. We humans are a delicacy, much better than mutton, Region old says. You regard the two dead goblins on the ground. Dead goblins are worth 10 gold pieces per head in the city. Luckily, you don't need to carry their heads around. The city authorities will accept their left ears. What do you do? Cut the ears off. Button. Just run. Button. Just run. Button. Cut the ears off. Button. Just run. Button. Just run. We might climb a tree, then. That would at least be defensible, Region old suggests. You wish to be treated like a fox with goblins barking underneath? If you wish a position that is both defensible and allows some freedom of movement, we should hasten to Castle Inverness. It is near. You frown. It is a fortress, yes, but inhabited by what? Gods know what manner of creatures may have taken up residence in that ruin over the years. Hide in the forest. Button. Climb a large tree. Button. Garrison in the ruin. Button. Garrison in the climb a large tree. Button. Garrison in the ruin. Garrison in the ruin. Castle. Never question a wizard. Button. What? Goblin hunting calls echo from Castle Inverness is near. Let us take refuge behind those stone walls, you say. Goblin hunting calls echo from all around in the forest as the two of you dash up the path 100 meters or so, where you find a fork in the road. The path to the right appears to be seldom used since it is nearly overgrown. The path to the left is clear, and you think you see firelight down that way. Could this fire belong to the goblins? Or, what do you do? Castle. Never question a wizard. Button. Investigate fire. Button. Investigate fire. Button. Reward. I'm an adventurer, damn it. Points, 1, coins, 1. Life so, it turns out the fire does belong to goblins. What did you expect? You've come up to a clearing with two goblins staring hungrily at what a cowardly lot they are. You run back to the fork in the road and head toward the castle. On the way, you hear a whistle in your ear, then another, and then feel a sting just above your hip. They do have bells. The wound isn't bad. It's a small arrow, shot by a weakling, no doubt. You pull it out without losing stride. Continue. Button. Continue. The two of you turn on a boost of speed, and soon the outer wall of the castle looms before you. It is about 10 feet high and crumbling. You realize with horror that there are no holes on this side that are large enough to fit through. Meanwhile, Region old, a faster runner than yourself, has disappeared around the north corner of the wall. The two of you turn on a boost of speed, and soon the outer wall of the castle looms before you. A short spear whistles past your head. You look back and see at least 4 of the little beasts. WC1 goblins. JPEG image. What do you do? Follow Region old. Button. Jump the wall spell. Mana 1. Button. Turn and blast them. Mana 4. Button. Reward. Crushing move. Dismiss pop-up. Reward. Crushing move. We could go in. You point to the die. Filthy vermin. Mana decreases 4. Morale increases 2. Die. Filthy vermin. No more goblins are visible, so you run to catch up with Region old. As you round the north side, you see him above a section of partially crumbled wall. He helps you scramble over the top and onto the rotten gangplank. He grins at you and nods in the direction you came from. Gods, you have struck terror into that advance party. However, they will call for reinforcements. We have the wall. The question remains, can we hold it? We could go in. You point to the castle keep beyond the courtyard. What do you suggest? Enter the castle now. Button. Prepare wall defense. Button. Prepare wall defense. Prepare wall defense. God know what's in that castle. Let us fight only one enemy at a time, you say. Soon, the forest around you is dotted with glowing sets of eyes. It is difficult to count them as they appear and disappear behind the trees, but you guess 20 or more. Surely, they will attack from all sides at once, says Region old. And they can see at night like we can in the... You consider the long, dry grass of the courtyard below. With some lamp oil, you could start to find brush fire down there. The light of it could, perhaps, even the odds on these nocturnal creatures. You could even cast a spell upon the fire to create a blinding flash, but you are not sure you want to leave the wall to carry out such an unconventional plan. Your question is immediately answered as you hear a battle cry, high-pitched, furious. What do you do? Blast them. Mana 4. Button. Run for the castle. Button. Blast them. Blast them. Mana 4. Mana decree. Morale. Gods help us. They come from all sides. You run from wall to wall. You smile to yourself. You're really on a roll. Gods, I hate goblins, you think. Unfortunately, the two of you cannot be everywhere at once, and soon several of the goblins have scaled the far wall. Two have dropped down into the courtyard while another charges upon the rickety battlement walkway toward you. Continue, button. Continue. What do you do now? Once across the courtyard, you open the large wooden double doors, which shriek on rusty hinges. Inside, Reginald slams and bars the doors. The entrance chamber is large with a high vaulted ceiling. The stone walls are cracked and flaking. The ground is strewn with loose rubble. It is not long before the front doors begin to rattle violently. Through a nearby arrow slit you can see glowing eyes and the glint of axes. You're not sure how long the bard. What do you do now? Let's go, button. Search the room and doors, button. Let's go, button. Let's go. Life decreases 3. WC1 Reginald opens the northern door and gasps. The light of your lantern streams into the doorway to reveal a huge, muscle monster stooping over. He holds a massive, spiked club in one hand and a melon-sized rock in the other. He bursts into the room, driving Reginald back. WC1 Ogre. JPEG, image. Neville's tongue, it's an ogre. The ogre smiles. Neville's tongue, it's an ogre. Reginald shouts. The ogre slams his club against Reginald's shield, sending him careening into the wall. The ogre then throws a rock it was holding at you, clipping your shoulder, spinning you completely around. The ogre smiles a jagged tooth grin and bends down to pick up another rock from a neat pile on the ground, just inside the doorway. You need to act fast. Blast it. Mana 4, button. Use a charm spell. Mana 3, let goblins in and run. Mana 1, use a charm spell. Reward. A clever move. Morale increase. Your trans-species courtship is interrupted as the front doors of the castle burst open. Like a tidal wave crashing on the beach, a heap of goblins falls into the room, creatures one on top of another. A chorus of glee erupts from their fanged mouths. The ogre roars in rage, throwing his rock at the first goblin, striking it in the chest with such a nasty crunching sound that you are certain the goblin will never get up. You decide it's time to leave this party. You and Reginald nearly collide in your haste through the eastern portal. Once through, you slam the door closed. From the entrance chamber you just left, you hear goblin yips of triumph turn into screams of terror that are immediately drowned out by an earth-shaking snarl. Next, you hear the sharp slapping of flesh against flesh and the wet sound of bodies ripping apart. You run from one room to the next. The particular charm spell you used on the ogre only lasts a few minutes, and so you want to get away from the monster before then. The ogre is not much of a housekeeper. The castle is full of giant cobwebs and broken furniture. Can't leave that way, you think. Of course, do you really want to leave anyway? There may be, I'm out of here, button. Investigate the sound, button. I'm out of here, button. I'm out of here. With a wave, you motion to Reginald to keep moving. He shakes his head and whispers, it is the sound of a maiden. One in distress, I think. Reginald has always been well tuned to maiden sounds, and so you are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. You put your finger to your lips and take the lead. Continue, button. Continue. You quickly realize that the sound seems to be coming from this very room. You creep over to the other end of the dining hall and see a young woman sitting on the ground, chained to a fireplace, rocking back and forth and sobbing. Saiba. JPEG, image. Her cries break off, and she looks up at you with an expression of fear that quickly turns to surprise. Who, ellipsis? Who, ellipsis? Who are you? She asks. You tell her your names and that you are here to smite evil while making your fortunes. This brings a smile to her face, a pretty smile, you suspect, although it's hard to tell under all the dirt smudge on her face. She gives her name as Saiba and says there is a key to her chains on the table. Sure enough, beside cracked and dusty china is a small brass key. As you set about unlocking her, she tells you that she is a merchant's daughter who was traveling with her father's trade caravan when it was attacked by a mighty ogre with a small band of priests of an evil god wearing dark cloaks. Those of her party not killed in the initial attack were taken prisoner and chained up in this room. One by one they were taken away by the priests, never to return. They took my father. Saiba sniffs. No doubt he is slain, but I must try to find him. Will you help me? You ask her if she has any idea where her father or the others might be, but she knows little of the rest of the castle. Reginald takes you aside and says, ought we to take her to safety and then look for her father on our own? She will be in danger traveling with us. You agree that having some half-starved, unarmed merchant's daughter tripping along behind you will only get her killed. But where is safety? Last time you checked, the courtyard was crawling with goblins, and what do you do? Escort her out, button. Hide her and move on, button. Escort her out, button. Reward. Morale increase. Saiba seems like a nice enough young woman, but as a merchant's daughter she is not a very good addition to the adventuring party, and so you are eager to escort her out of the castle as quickly as possible. Between Reginald's clinking chainmail armor and Saiba's incessant sniffling and muttering about her father, the three of you are not the stealthy party you wish to be. After some searching, you find a hole in the wall of the castle large enough for a human to fit through. Reginald gives you a boost up to the hole and you look out. Neville's tongue. You curse in your head. Glowing eyes dot the courtyard outside. You get down and tell the others the bad news. Continue, button. Continue. As you slump back against the wall, Saiba cowers in the. You cry out in pain and turn to see a cloak. As your life decreases too. Life. As you're describing what you saw, there's a sudden jolt of numbing cold in your back. You cry out in pain and turn to see a cloaked man barely visible in the light cast by the shuttered lantern in his hand. He is pointing at you with his other hand. Perhaps this is one of the evil priests Saiba spoke of. As you slump back against the wall, Saiba cowers in the corner. Reginald unsheathes his sword and charges. The cloaked man runs. By the time you recover from the pain and stand up, Reginald is walking briskly back into the chamber. That sneaky devil eluded me, he says and then curses. I would bet my last copper he is off gathering allies to come back for us. We must move on. As you hasten away from that wing of the ruin, the three of you agree Sybil should hide for now. There are a ton of hiding places in this ruin. You find a nice pile of ruble for her to hide behind several rooms away. Stay still and quiet here. We will return, ellipsis. Well, if we do not return by morning, escape as best you can, you instruct her. Clever, Reginald says as you leave her. If her abductors find her missing, they will not expect her to remain in the castle. With luck, they will leave the castle altogether to search. And we can explore unhindered, you say with a smile. Continue, button. And we continue, button. Continue. You have kept your lantern hooded, only allowing slivers of light out. After all, you want to remain stealthy. The way is, what do you do? Keep the lantern hooded, button. Unhood the lantern, but keep the lantern hooded. Reward, sneaky. Reginald unhoods his lantern and spider, you take it slow in the dark. Life decreases 1. You take it slow in the dark. Still, you stumble a few times, but at least you're not shining like a lighthouse to all your enemies. Soon the cobwebs thicken, ellipsis, and thicken, ellipsis, and ellipsis. What's this? You find yourself stuck to one particularly thick strand of web. As you take the hood off your lantern to better appraise the situation, something heavy lands on your shoulders. Spider, Reginald yelps. His sword is out, and he swings it down hard on top of you. Presently, your back is covered with greenish, oozing spider blood. The monstrously large spider is black with long, matted fur. It now lies motionless on the floor. Reginald unhoods his lantern and plays the light on the ceiling above. There are no more spiders, just thick webs dotted with small silky cocoons that you suspect might encase rats or other small prey. Now that the immediate crisis is over, you notice you're in pain. Reginald, who has never been a lover of spiders, cut your shoulder in his zeal to kill the thing. You don't hold it against him. He meant well, and it is far better to get a gouge from a sword than an injection of venom from something like that. Reginald does his best to bandage you up, and then you proceed down the hall. Your lanterns are no longer hooded, however. You want to get a better look around, and you pay particular attention to the ceiling. Continue, button. Continue. You look up the stairway and sigh. Well, perhaps we can get a view of the courtyard and the goblins from up there. The upper regions of foul places like this are safer than the lower levels, says Reginald. Why in Neville's tongue would that be? You say. Reginald shrugs. Do not ask me what is in the mind of fiends and evil. You look up the stairway and sigh. Well, perhaps we can get a view of the courtyard and the goblin. Reginald leads the way up the stairs, which lead into a small tower. Moonlight filters in through 2 windows. This room is fine. Strange, says Reginald. There's no dust up here. And if we are in a ruin, you say. Of course, there's a draft. The glass in the windows is still intact, mutters Reginald. Gazing at your reflection in the mirror, you decide you look pretty good, all things considered. You are about to pull yourself away from the mirror and put it in your backpack when you glimpse a translucent skull with thin, wispy hair just behind you in the reflection. You spin around and see not a skull, but a young girl floating a few feet in the air, her pale face fixed on you. Reginald sees her too, as evidenced by him running down the stairway. How dare you touch what is mine? The ghostly girl shouts. You back up and reflexively put the mirror back on the table. You have heard tales of powerful ghosts that can suck the life right out of you and wonder if this girl is one of those. WC1 Ghost Girl. JPEG, what do you do? Run for the stairs, button. Protection from evil spell, 2 mana, button. Run for the stairs, run for the stairs. Life decreases 1. You decide that it's high time to do what most people do when meeting a ghost, run. You point to the bookshelf behind the ghost, and when she looks, you sprint for the door. That old distraction trick does not appear to work on the undead, for before you can reach the door, she looses an ear-splitting scream. The small bed slides across the room, slamming into your legs from behind and knocking you headlong down the stairway. You land hard, and blood streams into your vision. You get up and continue down the stairs, limping now. There is wailing and crashing above, but fortunately, the ghost does not follow beyond her room. You immediately find Reginald, for he had not strayed far. He begins asking you questions, but you put up your hand. Another time, you say. Continue, button. Continue. Checkpoint reached. Good job. The two of you continue through the castle. Checkpoint reached. Good job. The two of you continue through the castle. Occasionally, you hear distant things, a shout, a crash, even voices. Soon you come to a door with light streaming out through its cracks. You open the door ever so slightly and peek in. You see a cloaked man frantically pacing back and forth, a torch in his hand. His cloak is open, revealing a muscled frame, inked with tattoos. You think you make out at least one of the tattoos to be the symbol of Neril, god of the undead. This reminds you of the tattooed body of a man hung in the city square only a month ago. He was believed to be an evil priest of Neril and was accused of terrible crimes, including raising zombies. Focusing on the rest of the room, your fear is quickly confirmed. There is a large stone symbol of Neril built into the wall. The stonework appears to be of new construction. In addition, WC1 cultist. JPEG, image. Chihuahua. Priests of Neril are not fools and are able to harvest power from their deity to cast dangerous spells. However, you have the element of surprise and there's only one of them. Attack with spells, mana 2, button. Attack without spells, button. Attack with spells, mana 2, attack with, cast a charm spell, spy for a bit, button. Rewarded video available, button. Rewarded video available, rewarded videos. Watch rewarded videos to earn coins, let's go, button. Not right now, button. Boost your show achievement. Change text. Show game menu. Go life. Checkpoint reached. The two of you. WC1 Priest of Nerl are not. WC1 cultist. Priest of Nerl. Attack without spell. Cast a charm. Spy for a bit. Button. Cast a charm spell on him. Button. Cast a charm spell on him. Spy. Rewarded video available. Rewarded video with Capar. Games folder. Screen record. Airplane mode. Switch button. Show media controls. Routes available. Button. Screen recording in progress. Button.